On the remote and windswept island of St. Helena, a giant of history breathed his last. Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who had once held Europe in the palm of his hand, died on May 5, 1821, a prisoner of the British Crown. His final years were spent in a state of isolated decline, a slow fade from the pinnacle of power to the quiet confines of Longwood House. Yet his death was anything but quiet. Almost immediately, whispers turned to accusations. A profound mystery took root. Was this the natural end for a man whose body had endured decades of relentless campaigning? Or was it the final, treacherous act of his enemies? The world was left to wonder if the Emperor of the French had succumbed to a slow, insidious poison. The official cause of death, recorded by his physicians, was stomach cancer. Napoleon Bonaparte's life was a whirlwind of ambition, conquest, unparalleled military genius. He rose from obscure Corsican nobility to become the Emperor of the French. He redrew the map of Europe through a series of brilliant but bloody wars. His fall was as dramatic as his rise. The victorious Allied powers were determined to ensure he could never again threaten the continent's stability. Their solution was to exile him to St. Helena, a tiny volcanic island in the middle of the South Atlantic Ocean, thousands of miles from any major landmass. It was, for all intents and purposes, the world's most secure prison. The conditions of his exile were harsh and deeply humiliating for a man accustomed to imperial splendor. He lived at Longwood House, damp, drafty, rat-infested residence that was perpetually shrouded in mist. The climate was notoriously unhealthy. The confinement was psychologically crushing. Napoleon was under constant surveillance by his British captors, led by the rigid and unsympathetic governor, Sir Hudson Lowe. The theory of assassination by poison gained its first concrete scientific foothold long after Napoleon's death. In the 1960s, a Swedish dentist and amateur toxicologist named Steen Forsjevud became fascinated with the case. He obtained authenticated samples of Napoleon's hair, which had been collected by his attendants during his exile and after his death. Using a then novel technique called neutron activation analysis, Forsjevud and his colleagues tested the hair for traces of toxic substances. The results were shocking. The hair contained levels of arsenic many times higher than the normal amount found in a healthy person. This discovery transformed the poisoning theory from mere speculation into a scientifically supported hypothesis. Arsenic is a well-known poison whose symptoms can mimic natural diseases. Chronic, low-dose arsenic would produce a slow and agonizing decline, consistent with his final years. Segment-by-segment hair analysis appeared to show intermittent ingestion, suggesting deliberate administration over time. Suspicion fell upon the British, particularly Sir Hudson Lowe. Others suspected a traitor within Napoleon's circle, the Comte de Montholon. He managed finances and the wine cellar, fueling theories of internal betrayal. Section 4. Unlocking the Past, the Revelations of Modern DNA. In the 21st century, took a dramatic turn with the advent of advanced genetic analysis. While the debate over arsenic continued, a new group of scientists looked for pathogens. Using sophisticated techniques, researchers searched for microbial DNA preserved in artifacts. This approach, known as paleomicrobiology, allows scientists to identify bacteria, viruses, and other microorganisms. Instead of searching for a poisoner, they hunted for ghostly genetic fingerprints of ancient diseases. One groundbreaking study was led by an international team, analyzing DNA from various sources, hair samples, and material scraped from Napoleon's clothing. The goal was to build a pathogen profile to reveal chronic infections. This work moves beyond poison versus disease by providing tangible evidence of biological agents. By identifying DNA of particular bacteria, scientists can reconstruct a detailed medical history. Section 5. The Hidden Enemies. Trench fever and chronic infections. Among the diseases that modern science suggests may have afflicted Napoleon, trench fever stands out. Caused by the bacterium Bartonella quintana, Trench fever is transmitted by human body lice. It became infamous during World War I for incapacitating millions of soldiers. The disease is characterized by recurring fevers, severe leg pain, shin bone fever, headaches, and profound, long-lasting weakness. It can establish a chronic infection that persists for years. Napoleon's military career spanned over 2 decades of warfare, exposing armies to conditions where lice thrive. Poor hygiene and poor nutrition created a perfect breeding ground for disease. The Russian campaign of 1812 was a public health catastrophe. Typhus and other louse-borne illnesses killed far more than combat. It is plausible Napoleon himself acquired Bartonella during campaigns, seeding chronic fatigue and malaise long before exile. Section 6, the case for disease, stomach cancer and its accomplices. The most prominent and historically consistent theory for his death is stomach cancer, recorded by 7 British doctors at autopsy on May 6, 1821. They described a large ulcerated mass, cancerous. The cancer had perforated the stomach wall, leading to fatal hemorrhage. Persistent gnawing pain, coffee ground vomiting, gastric bleeding, and extreme weight loss, cachexia. His father, Carlo, died of a Surhouse stomach tumor, an early term for stomach cancer. Modern reviews affirm compatibility with advanced gastric adenocarcinoma. Chronic Helicobacter pylori is a major risk for ulcers and stomach cancer. A direct biological mechanism could link infection to cancer. Section 7. Weighing the scales. A cautious conclusion. On one side, poisoning, dramatic arsenic levels in some hair samples. Tantalizing but inconsistent across samples and sources. Arsenic could stem from environment, medical treatments, or grooming products, not necessarily murder. Proof of murder requires intent. Arsenic alone cannot provide it. On the other side, disease, stomach cancer, likely exacerbated by chronic infections. Modern DNA tilts toward disease with pathogen evidence. Most likely, metastasizing stomach cancer, immune defenses worn down by years of war,